a movement for dignity, resilience, and ecological justice. So as someone working in coastal and marine conservation, I see the Great Green Wall not just as a land restoration program, but it's a powerful philosophical shift. So it's restoration over extraction, communities over mega projects, long-term climate resilience over short-term economic gain. And I believe these are universal principles that countries like mine must also strive to emulate. So let's look at India's marine and coastal reality and why it mirrors Sahel. So in India's coastal and island regions, we are experiencing a pattern that feels painfully familiar. In the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, there's massive port, tourism, and military expansion planned in some of the fragile ecosystems. Then coral reefs, mangroves, seagrass meadows, along with the displacement of indigenous islanders and traditional fisher communities. And along the mainland coast, like from Chennai to Goa and Gujarat, there's rapid industrial corridors, ports, dredging, habitat fragmenting. Then up in the mountain regions of Ladakh, from the sea, there are mountain and river dependent communities that face displacement in the name of national development, mirroring the tension between security, land, and community rights that parts of the Sahel know very well. So my own PhD work on sea turtle nesting across all of India's coastal states, combined with my later research in the Antarctic Southern Ocean, has shown that climate pressures interact with human pressures in dangerous ways. When development disregards ecosystems, the consequences fall hardest on the peoples whose lives are most intertwined with them. So what are the lessons we see here? The Great Green Wall provides 3 lessons that are deeply relevant for oceans and coasts. Lessons for both success and caution. So we need lesson 1. We need to restore before you convert. The Sahel teaches us that the cheapest, most effective climate strategy is to restore natural systems, agroforestry, assisted natural regeneration, water harvesting. And in the marine world, this means protecting mangroves, lagoons, coral reefs, and seagrass as India's own green and blue walls. These are natural infrastructure that can safeguard millions from storms, erosion, and fishery collapse. Lesson 2, communities must lead and not be displaced. The GGW emphasizes that community stewardship, though there have been concerns about land tenure, top-down decisions, or risks of land grabbing in a few countries, these critiques are important. They remind us that if restoration is not rooted in secure rights, it can unintentionally reproduce harm. So India's coastal and island communities face the same risk today. Fisher families, the original custodians of the coast, must be part of every decision, not the last to be consulted. And lesson 3, we need to think in terms of corridors and not fragments. The GGW stretches across borders, connecting landscapes to form a living climate barrier. Now, our oceans need the same approach. Reef chains, mangrove belts, sea meadows, and island ecosystems from natural corridors that support fisheries, biodiversity, and carbon storage. Building a blue-green wall along India's coasts and islands could be our contribution to the same 2030 horizon that GGW is working toward. Now, how does a marine scientist look at Africa's model? For me, the Great Green Wall is a profound reminder that local people are not obstacles to conservation. They are the solution. In India, too, traditional fishers have centuries of knowledge, ecological knowledge, that modern policy rarely recognizes. Africa's leadership shows that restoration is not a technical exercise, it is a social contract. It must be built on trust, tenure, equity, and local wisdom. This is a message I carry from the Sahel to the shores of India. So, yes, this is my perspective.
Okay.
As a marine scientist.
Thank you, Anne.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anne. Right on time. You've taken, I think, 3 minutes. Yeah, we appreciate. So thanks for giving us a highlight on what research can be able to do. And I see the conversation here is all about communities being at the center of it all, not only as partakers, but also as change makers and also being included in decision making, because you're talking about research being able to reduce the project failures and also issues around restoration. And I think I also heard about inclusivity to be able to understand the various dynamics. Also, research also helps around monitoring and evaluation towards the various forms of adaptation. So I would move quickly to the next speaker from the AU Commission. Oh, sorry, the AU Commission. That is
no, East Africa Parliament.
I go to East Africa. Okay.
Yeah.
Is she online?
Yes, she's online.
Good. Thank you. Let me just quickly get to her.
People, can you unmute her? Honorable Jacqueline, somebody like that? Or no? Yeah.
Okay. So, Honorable Jacqueline, if you can hear us, we would love to hear from the IALA perspective. In Africa, we are very much interested in what the politicians say because they say this and they do different sometimes. So let us be real, because we are the ones who bear the brunt, the communities. We are the ones who connect to the community. So you would hear them say, here in Kenya, we say, kwa ground vitu ni tofauti, meaning at the, what is, how can I say it? At the local level, things are a bit different as they sit there and say that we are going to build roads or we are going to plant 1 million trees, and then they spend 1 billion. Let us say it the way it is, right? We will talk to our representatives today. So, Honorable Jacqueline, if you can hear us, we would like to hear from the IALA perspective on how parliamentary leadership can strengthen accountability and the implementation of the Great Green Wall Initiative in East Africa. And what opportunities do we have for civil societies, schools, non-governmental organizations to embed this restoration policies into the national, regional, platforms? Over to you, Honorable Jacqueline. Yes. If you're not ready, we will quickly give you a chance after the next speaker. Honorable Jacqueline, if you're not ready, please let us know. We would quickly move on to the youth representative, Hamid. Is Hamid in? Yeah. Zuzu, MS Zuzu, the women representative. Is she in to give us a perspective of the gender responsive programming? As women, we want to be included, as always, to be there. Okay. If not, is Grace John in, a student? You're in? You're there. Okay, can I come to you, Grace? Very nice. So Grace is here with us, who is going to talk on behalf of the schools. Are you a student today?
Yeah.
Good. So please give us a highlight of the role of schools in terms of restoration. What role can the students make in terms of being powerful agents to the Great Green Wall Initiative? I know there are various things that the school do in terms of the clubs, green clubs, or planting of trees, all that. So if you could just give us a highlight of what kind of role can the schools play as powerful agents to the Great Green Wall Initiative. So take us back to the days when we were in primary, on kindergarten. Yeah, what other thing could we do different? Over to you.
Thank
Chris.
you very much. As I said, I'm a headmistress and interact with students. And fortunately enough, I'm a geography teacher. Let me start by complimenting my government in their leadership, pledging for about 1.2 million hectares by planting trees by 2030 under the ARIF 100. I'm presenting my capacity as an educator and remark a sorrow for education purpose. As a head of school and a geography teacher, my role is to mobilize the students, community, and educators, my fellow educators, to achieve the national vision, which we share today, means strength in collective to resolve by inviting partners such as African Forestry Forum, UNEA, in the 7th delegates, the private sectors to join hands with the government together to accelerate the restoration and empower students in building resilient forest bioeconomic that benefits all Tanzanians. In Tanzania, for the education sectors, the section of GGWI implementation, the education sector has become a pillar for the environmental action, demonstrating how schools operate in the restoration. In my region, schools have been the center of regreening campaign, contributing planting trees over 16 million since 2017. The campaigns such as Kesho Tutachelewa, which was from 2021 up to 2022, mobilized the students and schools to plant 30,000 trees. And this one has gone up to 2025, where we had in our region, My Birthday, My Tree, where in every institution, head of schools, even government offices, every leader in that office is supposed to plant a tree on a birthday and should nurture that tree up to it's grown that it has gained the strength. Also, there is school-based environment clubs. We have so many clubs that every year we have to update how many trees have been nurtured, leave alone the planting of trees, but is this tree being nurtured, growing, and is seen? And head teachers are supposed to coordinate these efforts. We go far that every head teacher in a school is supposed to plant a tree for that year. As far as the birthday is announced, you're supposed to plant a tree and nurture that tree. So when we look at this campaign, is that in my region, you have 274 secondary schools. So every head teacher has to plant a tree in that year. Nationally, the Tanzania Forest Service Agency, TFS, produces and distributed 10,000 trees, seedlings, annually, prioritizing secondary schools and the community. At the level of the community, we deal with the village leaders. And this ensures education is not only about classrooms, but also about the landscape. Tanzania position as AIC and SADC, Tanzania holds a unique position as a member for both East African Community and the South African Development Community. This dual member allows Tanzania to bridge the region sharing knowledge, best practice across Africa, devises education contents to ensure that the lesson of Tanzanian schools, head teachers, students, clubs, in restoration of trees. We have so many clubs that are nurtured under our schools and students. Aligning with the GGWI National Action Plan with both East African Community Climate Strategies and SADC Restoration Framework, strengthening the continent coherence and serves the connection between civil society's voices, amplifying students and educators sector to contribute in the regional dialogue. This dual role position Tanzania as a laboratory of inclusive innovation, offering the model that inspires the global collaboration. On the global lessons, schools, restoration hubs, education infrastructure, double the restoration of infrastructure. Students as agents on restoration embedded in learning and ensuring the generation of sustainability. The government education energy, seedling and distribution of trees, TFS in schools, directed to empower the school. The role of the school, institution like Sechelala Secondary School, where I come from, is it demonstrates how schools can inspire and reflection of national and globally. The call we have to stakeholders, as we understand, in my region is a semi-arid. So water, and we get rain once in a year, starting in December up to March, up to the next year again. So we have shortage of water, though underground water we can access. But we advanced the Green Great Wall Initiative in Tanzania to extend a heartfelt call for stakeholder and government, civil society organization, development partners, and private sectors to join hands with Tanzania's government, strengthening and implementing the particular through the education sectors. Sechelala Secondary School, where I serve as the headmistress and a role model for the environment clubs, tree planting trees. We have the shortage of water, but this water can be drilled, and lucky enough, it's not far from the surface. We invite stakeholders to support the seedling and distribution of trees, nurseries that are lagging behind because of the shortage of water. And I said before, it is a semi-arid region. We invite climate literacy programs, embedding restoration of trees into our curriculum nationwide, partners with the heads of schools, education association, scrolling the success of model schools, strengthening, inclusive, ensuring girls and boys and the vulnerable community are equally engaged in the restoration of these trees. In closure, the Great Green Wall is not only about trees and soils, but it's about people dignity and the future building together. Tanzanians educators supported by TFS, seedling distribution of trees based in a school position initiative to show how inclusive can operate or operationalize the restoration. And as a nation belong to both East African Community and SADC, Tanzania offers a lesson that others globally can learn from, adapt. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Just a follow-up on what you've discussed.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to know, because you've really talked about the students.
Mm-hmm.
What about the not teachers, sorry, the parents? How are they also involved in this exercise?
We involve the parents through students, and I said before that we reach the community through the community allies, the organization, through village leaders, where we find parents or we go house to house through the village leaders to find that everyone has a tree. We start with village leaders. During their birthday, every year they have to plant a tree. And these village leaders, they have 10 houses in every community. So we expect every household has a tree in every year planted. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good
Yeah.
lessons from Tanzania. My highlight is my birthday, my tree.
Yes.
So next year, as I go to my birthday, I should plant a tree. So over to the next speaker. Dear colleagues, I just want to finish up with the speakers and then we can open up the floor for questions. So I'll move again to the Member of Parliament, Yala. Very much interested with the Yala Parliament. Honorable Jacqueline, can you hear us?
Yes, can I be heard?
Yes, absolutely. It's good to have you. So
Okay.
over to you, Honorable Jacqueline, to give us the perspectives of Yala. How can the parliamentary leadership strengthen accountability and implementation of the GGI across East Africa? And what are some of the opportunities do you feel like we can tap into in terms of working closely with the legislatures as civil societies, as communities, and also as private stakeholders?
Okay, I really want to really appreciate you and the panelists who spoke earlier. I have already been introduced. My name is Amongin Jacqueline, a member of parliament from Uganda and representing Uganda in the East African Legislative Assembly. But I'm also the Secretary General of the African Network of Parliamentarians on Climate Change, bringing together 54 countries of parliamentarians advocating for climate-related policies and legislations in the parliaments across Africa. So I am very honored to have been invited to speak at this session. I'm personally not in UNEP because, you know, we are having campaigns in Uganda, and I've come out of the meeting of a campaign trail to make sure that this is a very important engagement. I would like to first say that the parliaments play a critical role in terms of representation, legislation, allocation of resources, and also advocating for the people that they represent. And therefore, the Great Green Wall Initiative is actually, I'm so excited that the civil society are taking this seriously. Although the Great Green Wall Initiative hasn't been initiated in Eastern Africa, and we are looking forward to carrying this initiative that was started from the Sahel and other regions to the Eastern Africa. It's very important today when we are talking about restoration, because we have depleted a lot of our resources. And in terms of parliamentary accountability, you cannot talk about accountability without addressing issues related to climate change, issues of addressing restoration, because our almost 63% of our lands, especially agric land, and also have been depleted. Resources have been depleted, human activity, and there is no one, very limited, people are doing a lot of deforestation without restoration. So I think that is a very important, this is a very important project that cannot be talked about in the region without actually engagement of all stakeholders. And I would like to applaud the civil society, but Parliament would definitely play a critical role. One, in terms of being the people's mouthpiece, in terms of the different restoration initiatives, and that would be therefore linking it to the Great Green Wall Initiative. And so many other roles that parliaments can play. So me, briefly, Chair, I would say that as the East African Legislative Assembly, it's a direction that we would love to take, and I look forward to having an engagement towards realigning the Great Green Wall Initiative, especially for those who design projects, to also cut across the East African region. Thank you so much for your kind listening.
Thank you, Honorable Jacqueline. An issue that always comes up, just a follow-up for you, an issue that always comes up for the people is that the members of parliament sit down and they pass bills and policies and etc. without engaging us. So we would still want to know how closely can we work with the legislature, so that then our voices are also equally amplified. I know you said that you do that for us, but how again can we ensure that then we are at the center of decision making?
Okay, as you realize, Parliament represents the people, and represents the people of all categories: churches, faith-based, civil society, private sector. Everyone is